And then it just becomes a lot easier. So you can either mark everything as available, or you can be like, okay, let's match check-ins. So then they check in all the people. So then they're set as those who were checked in or not. Let's just set all of them right now. So it's easy. So you use the check-in site, and then you don't have to edit anything here. With online tournaments, there can be quite some changes with the judge availability. So then you have to check and uncheck people here a lot. It does automatically save this. So say he is not here, it does save it automatically. But again, you cannot do this simultaneously with someone else, because then it might save either one. And then you generate a draw. We'll first show you the draw, just the rooms that are here. You can potentially change the sites and matchups. You don't usually do this. I once had this thing where it was two teams that really hated each other. So then I actually changed it to not having them to meet. Sorry. Otherwise, you just keep it like this, and you do changes without rounds if CAs want to do like pick your favorite CA or your favorite position, so that then it might not be the same way as sides. Okay. Then you go to allocate adjudicators. With online tournaments, sorry, with online tournaments, you just leave this up to the CAs. You're just like, okay, so I've made the draw, and now you can allocate judges. What you can do is prioritize. You can either prioritize by bracket or by liveness. So are they still live for the break? That's the liveness. So do they still have enough points that if they would get it first, they would still be able to make the break? My bracket is sorry. And my bracket is so the bracket is which points they're on. So there may be multiple rooms with teams that are on 2 points and multiple rooms that may be on 1 point. So each of those are separate brackets. And then you allocate. You can choose to either have chairs allocated, only chairs allocated, or only without the panelists or without the trainees. I usually just set it like this, and then people can change whatever. So Willem is at a 2 instead of 2.5, so he is below what we set as what the trainee limit would be. So he's automatically allocated as trainee, but you can still move him to be not a trainee. You can also just randomly make one a trainee if you'd want to do that. So here you can also wait. It doesn't show right now. So here you can also see, so for example, this judge is from Groningen. So it also shows name, first name, and sometimes also last letter, first letter of the last name. It also shows the institution. And then if you hover over that person, it will also show you which other teams are from there. I believe we said Yuri as Clash from this random Amsterdam team. So now it also shows you that that team is red, which means this is the direct clash and should definitely be avoided. In some cases with tournaments, it's not possible to avoid institutional clash. it still shows on the tab, but you can always choose to ignore it. So so you can still change this. You can also choose to ignore hard clashes. Then you, but that's usually not preferred. So it will also always show here whether there's a clash or not. And what it shows here, there's conflict flag, is that there's a conflict. Yuri is from EDS and EDS1 is also from EDS, so there's an institutional conflict. So it also always shows up here. You can change room allocation if you didn't set venue categories and you do want certain teams in specific rooms. You can still change it. If you click here, you can change it room here, or you can be like, oh, I want to change it here, or I want this specific room to be an announcement hall. You can always change it. Display draw. So after you click display draw, you don't necessarily directly display the draw, but then you have to enter motion. So this text box is for the motion. So this then choose, and then you give a short code. So it's just called Zeus, or can be called feminism if it's a feminism motion or sports motion or whatever. And then you sometimes you want to add an info slide. So zoos are theme parks with animals. Something like that. Then you save motion. Release draw and release motion. So if you're using Taptastic, you do this directly with Taptastic, otherwise you do it yourself. Only release this after, of course, it has been shown in the announcement hall or somewhere or another. If you release the draw and will be like, hey guys, you can now find the draw here, so people have to look it up online. Then of course you do want to release a draw beforehand. So usually you use display ordered by team. So then it shows you in alphabetical order where the teams are. So it starts with Amsterdam. But what you may also change the room, the scroll speed, how large the text is. You can hide the judges if you want. You can also display it ordered by room, so that gives you a nicer overview, especially with smaller tournaments. You might want to use this instead. And you also use this without round specifically, but otherwise you would use it ordered by team. So then you release a draw to public. Draw status not confirmed. Sometimes does this. I'm not sure why it does this time. Might be because you release it at the same time or something. But now it's released and display motions. With Taptastic, you can. It will be released on Discord. It has a countdown. We can set it to be released at a specific time. If you just click it and say reveal info slide, when you use escape, it will close the info slide again, and then you can reveal the motion. So usually you make sure that you have one of the CAs with you and be like, hey, which one of these CAs is going to reveal the motion? Which one of you is going to do the motion? Make sure that one of your CAs stays behind. 2 reasons. One of them is there might be a judge swap, especially if people don't enter their clashes. And the other one is there might be questions about the motion or the info slide, so then you also want the CA member to be there to answer those questions. And of course, the CAs always read out the motion directly. Are there any questions?
Actually, just like a really basic question. How would you add another round?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, like, if you wanted a third round before the breaks.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember when I showed you how to add an out round?
No, that's the thing I got confused about the adding the rounds part.
Okay, so you can so when you start a tournament, you always show like, hey, I want this number of out rounds. But for example, they say like, okay, I want to add another in round. Then you go to the edit database area. So it's in the same part as where you would add an out round. So you go to tournaments, then you go to rounds. And here it shows you all the rounds. If you do want to add another out round, make sure that you change the sequence here. So you have the space to add another in round. You save. Oh. Okay, this might be the case because it's not sequential anymore. So then you first have to add an out. So you just click add round. Be like, hey, tournament sequence number is 3 because it's the third in round. Say it's round 3. Then the stage is preliminary because it's an in round. Draw type because it's not the first round. It's power paired. Sometimes CAs want another option, but usually it's power paired. Break category is not necessary because it's an in round, so you don't do anything with this. Draw status, you just keep it at none. Feedback weight, per in round, it usually goes 0.1 higher. So this would be 2. The first round always has feedback weight of 0, and per round it goes up. So this will be the last round, so put it on silent. Motion is not released yet. You stay safe. And then maybe like, okay, so tournament sequence number already exists. So that's the annoying thing. Is that it just broke a bit. I just have to change this. See where it works this time. No, still doesn't. Okay, then I might have to open it.
Don't you then just add round 3 with like number 7 or something?
It could. Oh, it still does. Okay. Well, you could, but then it wouldn't be in the right sequence. So I think you would have to change it separately. Be like, okay, I want to change this to 4. Oh wait, it would still not work. Damn it. Take grand final. It's for sure grand final. Okay, let's see whether it works now. Nope, still not.
No, so what I mean
sometimes
is,
it gives this.
Yeah, so what I mean is you now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And don't you then add round 3 as 6? And then after it's added, you edit the sequence numbers manually.
Yeah, but then it says then it gives the internal server error. I'm not sure why it does right now. Sometimes it gives that error, and then you have to just do it manually. Let's see. Okay, and now I would be able to add this round. So now I accidentally put it in 6 and 7. I don't think that would make a difference. Does this answer your question, though?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So I once had this tournament. I think it was Tilbury. It was online. Is that at some point there were so many technical delays that they decided to completely take out round 1. So then I actually had to delete round 1, which I also had to do in the edit database area. The annoying thing with Tabby 2 is that you can't really do this in Tabby 2. Except if you have admin rights there, for which you would have to message the person who actually set it up. It might be the case that Alex and Stephen might be able, so Alex Murray and Stephen Roy might be able to have access to that as well, and might give you those admin rights. This is one of the reasons I prefer TabbyCat, is that you have all the rights and you can change literally anything you want. Okay. Okay, so we have done the draw. Let's release the motion to the public because we've shown it to everyone. That's also one of the things you can't really do with Tabby 2 is change the draw afterwards. You can do that here. So here you are in the enter results area. So
Marta, you're not sharing your screen, by the way, if you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so just on the previous page, well, words. I release the motion here, and you just go to enter results. So if people use eBallot, it will show as a blue circle here, and it will also show a blue in this red bar, and I can show you. So if you open this one, so most people, if you have judged once, you will have seen a ballot like this, especially if you've been chair. If not, you might have had to fill this out for chair, but it looks like this. So if you have an iron person, you can change it here, either speakers both twice or not. If there's one iron person, you click it, and then you just enter all their names. The fun thing about having online tournaments is that you don't have to edit all this. You just have to check them as check a ballot as confirmed. So when you do this, I usually just use tab and then my keypad for numbers. So let's see, 80 and 79. Just making up random numbers. This usually doesn't happen in 65 and 79, but yeah, who knows? Okay, so it automatically adds the speeds, and it also shows you the ranks automatically. So for example, if Brad Pitt was an Iron person, then we would have Brad Pitt speak twice, and then the lowest speak would be marked as a duplicate speech, which would be here. So then it won't be shown on the speaker tab. And then you just be ballot status confirmed. You click that one. Debate status would also be confirmed. If I put it as none, let's save. I think oh, no. Okay, so because I didn't add this as a draft or anything, it shows you that it's still as a red X, so we still have to click it again, and we just set it as confirmed. So what you guys can do is just open one of those ballots in the results and just add some results for yourself. I just realized we don't have enough rooms for everyone. So what might happen if you edit a ballot at the same time, that only one of them is confirmed and the other one is not, or it might show up as two separate ballots. Okay, so Annemarijn sent me a message like, hey, I saw that you're doing a tech workshop and that you're kind of offering people to be your assistant for like a next tournament. I have a couple of tournaments coming up, so if anyone wants to be assistant with me, that's also fine. So I think maybe we can like make a Facebook group chat with everyone, and they can just be like, hey, and then Annemarijn and me can be like, hey, we're doing a tournament, who wants to join?
Yeah, that would be nice. I actually also wanted to ask whether there's any way that we can join. So
yeah, of course. So I think the best way to learn it is actually do it, especially if you're actually in the tournament doing it. Right now I'm just walking you through it very slowly. But if you actually do a tournament yourself and you're responsible yourself, it does make a difference.
yeah.
Okay, so what we see here for room 1, there have been 2 admins who edited the score. This may happen if a panelist might not agree with the chair that they also just add their own version of the ballot. You just have to confirm them both. So then what you have to do is talk to the chair and be like, hey, there's something wrong with the ballot. Please tell me which one is the correct one. For offline tournaments, of course, you have a paper ballot, so then it's less difficult to figure out what was correct. Offline tournaments, you usually have an e-ballot and a paper ballot, and you just add the paper ballot and you open the e-ballot that was already filled out, and you just check whether the paper ballot and the e-ballot is correct. It saves you a lot of time. Okay, so now it shows you that round 1's results will be published online, so it's not marked as a silent round. So it always warns you for this in case you accidentally forgot to put a round as silent. And I think it's great that they put this warning message here, like, hey, do you really want to do this? Yeah. So then you mark round 1 is completed. Just what you can do here is mark everything as available or copy availability from round 1. You might want to make changes here, then you generate a draw. Now here it shows you that there's teams that are on 3 points and some 2. Shows you the brackets. These teams are on 0 points. You confirm the draw. Here it shows you there's teams that are pull-up teams, which means that So these teams have 2 points, but they're in rooms that are meant for teams with 3 points. This happens when you have where you don't have enough teams with 3 points, so then you have 4 teams, or if they want to keep position balance in place. So position balance it's also really cool. It shows you on which side they've already been on once or multiple times. So in round 3 and round 4, this might show up as red or orange if they're on the same side again, and it will show as yellow or green again once the imbalance has been resolved. You usually don't have to do anything with this, but you can recheck it if you want to. Yeah, it's more kind of like an interesting thing. Sometimes you might want to look at it for out rounds, or if you want to change positions of teams if they accidentally end up against each other, or if the software is doing something you don't want to do. Then you allocate judges. Again, you usually let the CAs do this, just tell them, or now I can actually prioritize. I just undo it by bracket because I think everyone's still alive. Just allocate it. So what might happen in later rounds is that they stack judges. That's what CAs do, is that they have higher ranked judges. They add multiple higher ranked judges to the best rooms, which kind of ensures the quality of the judging in those rooms. They might want to do this for bubble rooms, so you have to take that into account. So with online tournaments, you don't have a lot of interaction with the CA team at this point because you just kind of leave them to it. Sometimes they do want you to do it. Otherwise, other times they just do it themselves. If it's an offline tournament, you can warn them like, hey guys, time's almost up, please hurry. Or if you see that the discussion is taking too long, you do something about this. We can tell them like, hey, maybe it might be smart to move this judge there, or you move this judge there. What you can see here, what's blue, is that so this judge has seen the teams Novices, Amsterdam, Rhetorica, and EDH, has seen that judge before, so they might want to avoid that. You might also want to avoid that with judges seeing each other again, especially if you want the feedback to be as unbiased as possible. You want to change the judges judging together as much as possible. You might also and here might show the conflicts again. And just kind of do the same thing again. So this house would legalize drugs. Well, most of the things are already legal in the Netherlands, but not most hard drugs. Drugs. Not going to do an info slide. But you've also already seen it before. And now you can all go enter a ballot again. Okay, so we got all the results now. There's one more thing I need to show you before we go to break, and that is, as you can see here, let's see, is that this team Ironman last round, and this team Ironman this round. So what you need to do in these cases is that you have to take only the highest team score into account. No, wait, I did it wrong now. So then you have to reopen that ballot and look at their scores. So here you can see that Mark had a good speech, and he spoke 76 and a 74. So their team speaks for this round will be a 76. So that's Rhetorica R name 2. Let's see. And we go to results and then team scores. Here it shows you all the ballots. And I'm just gonna search for team Rhetorica. And I will show you a couple of ballots. Here it shows you which team name it is. It shows you how many points they got, their team points as well. So it's for round 2, so it's the upper one. So you open it. And because it was the highest score was a 76, you give them a 76. There's a score here. The win is unknown. Points 0. Votes given, votes possible are not necessary for VP, so then you save. And the same would go for the other team that Iron person in round 1. Then I forgot to tell you one thing, which was you have to add a break for someone. So let's say Leiden B is a novice team, then we have to mark them as novices. I usually do this somewhere during the tournament whenever I have time, because it's not necessary to do this at the start of the tournament. So if the break category is already added, you can just go to the team, go to break categories, and then click novice. Make sure that the open break category is also still there, so they would still be able to break open if they wanted to. You just save. While you were adding scores, I already added a couple of other teams as novices. Okay, so just going to complete the round now. Round 2 is completed. Okay, so I've deleted round 3 because I think it's too much effort to do a round 3, and also I'm kind of running out of time. Okay. So after round 3, you have to do, or after the last round, you go to the break. So now you have to go to an overview. So for this time, there's 6 eligible novice teams, and all teams are eligible for the open break. Just click generate this break. It calculates this automatically based on all the scores. You just generate the break for all categories. And then it shows you. Sometimes it might happen that there will be a team that's also eligible for a novice break. Then it would also show here, and then you might have to talk to the novice team involved if they want to speak in the novice break or in the open break. It might be the case that this specific team has to Iron person in the out rounds. Some CA teams prefer not to have Iron person in out rounds, and then you would have to change it. So you would say they would be ineligible. I once had that this was really sad, that the 8th team, or it was the 16th team, I'm not sure, had exactly the same team points and exactly the same speaks, as well as the same amount of number 1s and number 2s they got in the tournament. So then we had to do a coin toss. This was the worst break I ever had to do. But then you just have to say like lost coin toss or ineligible, and then you just save and update the open break. And that would mean that they would be kept out of the break. So let's say Leiden is for some reason ineligible, you can also say it's a different break. That's for the novice break more important. And you just like say for mark and update the open break. And then it will show you that this team is ineligible, and then this team will still be able to break. And then you can also change that back, of course. Okay, so for the judge break, you have the CAs, you let CAs do this, where they just have to mark from here. So there's a medal icon here, and then they just have to select all the breaking judges here. That's basically all they have to do. It saves automatically, so you don't have to change anything about that. So then, after you've done that, you go to semifinals, you go to availability, mark all breaking judges as available, mark rooms as available, so you can be like, okay, I want this to take place in rooms 1 and 2, go back, generate a draw, confirm the draw. So for outrounds, you have to allocate sides by hand. You can just confirm them, or you can change them around and be like, oh, this team goes there, or this team goes there. And for judges, it's really simple. You can do the auto allocation. You can also be like, hey, Noah's gonna be chair here, Mo's gonna be chair here, and these are gonna be their wings. Usually CAs make panels beforehand, and they just give you a panel and be like, hey, you want these panels here. So yeah, so outrounds are pretty easy. This house would ban semis, semi-final. And then you would usually display the draw ordered by room instead of team. And you go enter results. So if the semis and the novices occur at the same time, you don't necessarily have to say like, okay, I want to go to the next round, but you can just click in the sidebar like, okay, I now want to do the novice final. Once you get the results for the semi-final, you just have to go to that ballot, and you just have to mark 2 teams as advancing. So those are the 2 winning teams that will go through. So it's pretty straightforward. I usually just tell the chairs from the semis to enter, to just enter their ballots, because it's really easy. You always have to confirm, so sometimes you have to reopen it and confirm it yourself, but it will always show up on this side. I'll just complete the round. So now it shows this round is a silent round. The results will still be hidden from the public. If you want to change it, you can do it in the edit database area. Now, because you were in the semis and the grand final were in the same category, you will automatically go to grand final. So you always just mark all breaking judges as available. Of course, if there's a really large breaking judge pool and you know the specific panels, you might also just mark only the breaking judges as available, so you don't have to search for them when you're allocating judges. You mark rooms as available. You can, if you don't care, you can just mark all of them, and otherwise you can just put them in the announcement hall. Generate a draw. Confirm draw. And you have to allocate sites. So if you want to pick your favorite CA, then do make sure that you know which team broke first, second, third, and fourth, or in which order they broke, So the team that broke first is allowed to pick first. So that's kind of a conventional way to do this, and then you can just change it around. So, random judges here. And then display draw. We're almost done, guys. This is just like, it's a bit repetitive, so if you don't want to do a lot of repetitive stuff or under a lot of time pressure, I don't think you should tab, otherwise, meh. It's a lot of fun to work together with people and being able to provide something for other people. So the annoying thing with setting winners is that here it also shows you here with another message, but here if you want to, if say Leiden A1 and usually you click closing opposition, put it as confirmed. However, there's only one winner. We can't set just one winner, so you have to change this in the other database area to complete the round. Yeah, no, it sent me to notice finder. So what you do here is that you go to results, and then team scores. And if this is something that you will forget, that's fine. Then just ask me for it, because this is one of the things that you have to just look for and not forget. Let's see, I think it's about special. Okay, so so this team was closing opposition. So I usually choose to have closing opposition because that is the ballot that will show up at the top. So always pick that team together with the winning team. So closing opposition was the team that did not win. So therefore you have to change this win yes to no. That's the only thing you have to do. You just save it, and then there's only one winner for the grand final, and the same would go for the novice final. And after the tournament is done, I already showed you where to release the tab, so I think that's kind of it. I think I've covered basically everything. So if you have any questions.
I had a few questions. I recently did my first Tabbycat tournament, and so I had some questions related to that. Not sure how interesting they will be for the others, but we'll try.
Oh, that's okay.
So, first thing, I had some problems with the send mail thing, where it didn't deliver mails to some email accounts, specifically those at Gmail. I know the technical reason.
Happen,
yeah, but
okay. So what might happen is that it ends up in their spam box, or it might be that Google is being weird. In the latter case, that really is a problem, because then you can't send it either way. So I've already shown you how to use SendGrid. If that doesn't work, and you're not using Taptastic, what you could do is have a separate text channel with the judges in Discord, especially when you're doing an online tournament, and then make an Excel sheet with everyone's private URLs and just share it in that text channel. I think that's the best workaround I can offer right now. I think there was in the How Long Till the Draw tab discussions group, I think there was someone who wrote this program in which you can also send private URLs around, but I haven't used it yet.
Okay, nice. Then I'll check the group.
So that's something you could check out. Otherwise, if you're doing an online tournament, contact Sebastian Fulmer and ask him whether he wants to provide Taptastic, or at least ask your org team to consider using Taptastic. It's not that expensive. I'm not sure how much he wants to charge for it, but it's not that expensive, and it's really nice to use. And it saves you the hassle of sending around the private URLs.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Next thing, oh yeah, we had one really annoying problem where someone managed to change a speaker score while confirming a ballot. I'm not sure how that happened, but that actually messed up our break, so that was very annoying. Any insight, anything to look out for?
How do you change it? Okay. So what you can do, no, that's not really an option. So what you want to do is send out a confirmation to all the judges with, hey, this is the confirmed ballot. I believe there is an option in Tabbycat.
Yeah, we did that, I think.
Yeah, so then it would be up to the chair as well to double check that ballot, right? To see whether that
yeah, sure.
whether all the speaks are in there correctly. I don't think there's another proper way to do this, but it is a good one to maybe have included in Taptastic, so they can make sure that they get a confirmed ballot. Like, hey, these are the results. If you agree, if not, contact your tab director now. That's something I'm gonna, yeah.
All right. Next question. So I only did tabbing in the German circuit so far. And there we usually do preformed panels, and the tab team usually allocates the preformed panels during the round to simplify the draw. Is that something that international tournaments do as well?
International tournaments do use preformed panels, but I usually just let the CAs take care of it. So they sometimes still want to change those preformed panels as well, and I just like, I just leave it up to them to be in charge of those preformed panels. Because like usually I'm like, okay, so yes, the tab master is in charge of the entire software. However, I do want the CAs to be in charge of the judge allocation. So if something goes wrong, or if for some reason the preformed panels are incorrect, they can still change it and still have. They're the last to see those allocations and are like, yeah, this is exactly the draw we want.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like in Germany, we usually do the preformed panels
by that makes a lot of sense.
And then the CAs look over it and change. Like usually they change around the whole thing, to be honest. But so it is. Okay, and last question. Do you usually use feedback questions other than the overall score?
Usually I confirm this with the CA team, but there's a couple of questions. Oh, that's something I forgot. Okay. So usually when I use the Astana scale, it's about justification. It's about the discussion. There's 2 or 3 on those scales, and I just make sure those questions are included in the feedback questions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it might be good for you to look up those scales and be like, hey, I'm gonna implement those every single time I'm gonna ask for feedback. I think they're on the Astana Euros Facebook page.
If you want to do a demo of that right now, by the way, I'll just edit it in the middle of the workshop so that people still have access, and just post a message in the Facebook event like, hey, look at this time for a little bit of extra explanation. Yeah. So just after, if Alec and Tatjana still have questions, just answer those and then maybe do a little demo of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, those were all my questions. No further questions.
Yeah, so basically just, I usually just keep a list of the questions I want to include.
All right.
Any other questions?
I feel like I have both like no questions and also like all the questions, but like because I'm interested in maybe like assistant tabbing a tournament, because I feel like it's all very sensible. I just like wouldn't know exactly where to go. Like I wouldn't be fluent in it if I needed to.
No, of course.
I'm interested in that.
The first times I used Tabbycat, so keep into account that you have a lot of time during the rounds, so you can figure out a lot. But so there's two things. One of it is you can always look around and click on a lot of things, just as long as you don't delete stuff or change scores. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask. So you can either ask me or ask in the Tapping Discussions Facebook page. The developers are online a lot, so usually within like half an hour or something you get a response.
It's good to know.
Just, don't rely on it. Don't be like, oh shit, I'm stressing out, let me post in the Facebook group, but then rather just, call Marta or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if there's like a first tournament you're doing on your own, let me know and I'll make sure I'll be available on my phone as well, like all the time. If you have any questions, I can jump in.